Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Profit on Purpose podcast. This week, I'm super excited to share that we are joined by Allison Steele, CEO of the Trades Institute in Xenia, Ohio. Hi, Allison.
What's up? How's it going?
What's up? I'm good. I'm great. I've literally been talking nonstop for the last 2.5 hours on doing just these things. So, but this is honestly it's like my favorite thing to do. So it's all good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I feel like it's very busy over here, but that's a good thing. So
the amount of life in that building every day just it seems to increase more and more and more. And it's so exciting from a person who saw that building when it was completely empty and to see what it is today. As I walked the halls the other day, just to see it seemed like every hallway there was some activity and excitement and energy. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things we want to do around here is create community, and so it's nice to be able to walk the halls and know who people are and wave and ask how people are doing. And that's been really exciting to see around here.
That's fun. So before we go too far, I want to make sure because people are like, wait, what building? Where? What are these people talking about? So let's start off with tell us a little bit about yourself and what brought you to the Trades Institute.
Okay. So I, prior to this, I was working at a manufacturing plant called JBM Packaging. I was a Better Lives coach, we called it. We were one of the biggest second chance employers in the region and developed that program there. Got turnover down to 30% for our fair chance community. And it was just a really great place to work. And I loved what I did, but I felt like I had done what I came there to do and felt that stirring, like God was, kind of like, hey, there's something more we need to be doing here. And a couple months prior, Kip had reached out because I used to be in the nonprofit world doing prison ministry and recovery ministry, actually, recovery housing ministry. And so the circle's small. So Kip had reached out to me about a nonprofit question. And I used that opportunity to say, like, hey, if you ever have like an automotive division, my husband's your guy. He was running a Firestone at the time. And he was like, actually, we just bought a garage. So I'm like,
of course.
And we need someone to run it. So my husband actually started first with the whole Emerge ecosystem running the pit stop. And so, so I see what's going on there. And anyway, so Kip and I got to talking and, they needed somebody to run the school. And my background back in the day, I have a master's in educational leadership, a bachelor's in elementary and special education. So it's kind of like going back to my educational roots, but in a population that I feel called to.
That's awesome. Used the term, you said fair chance.
Mm-hmm.
What define that for me?
So that was JBM's thing. Marcus Sheehan-Chang is the CEO there. Great person to connect with, Christian, because you and him are so like-minded. But he talked about fair chance being like everybody deserves a fair chance, essentially. And the reality is a lot of people don't need a second chance. They need like a 10th chance. Do you know what I mean?
You haven't heard. So I have a saying at 5-star, we give second chances, like 10 or 12 times.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it could honestly be extended to so many different types of people and different crowds of people, anybody that really has fallen short or gone wayward in their life. And I can relate to that. Mine doesn't look like substance abuse. Mine looks different. But we all, I think, need somebody to believe in us and give us that opportunity to shine. So,
I think people have to, what I love about it is, the roadmap for me personally that got me here doesn't exist. You can't go to the store and buy the atlas that's like, hey, how do you go from a homeless meth addict to CEO of a fairly large home services company? They haven't written that book yet. You know what I mean? And unfortunately there is no book because it's God, and God's a great connector and puts it all together. So, and I love that you brought that up already. So tell me a little bit about the Trades Institute, what your guys' mission is, and kind of what the work is that you guys are doing.
So the Trades Institute was created prior to me getting here. And the whole goal was it was created with the employers in mind and contributing to the vision and the mission of it. So I think that's a cool part of it, is saying like, hey, I'm an employer in the industry and this is really what I need to see. So the curriculum, the way it's taught is all been influenced by the people doing the work, which is awesome. So basically right now we have HVAC and we have plumbing courses. Our school is approved by the career colleges, the Board of Career Colleges and Schools. So it's an accredited school. And we have a unique approach to show up to learning with these labs that are just awesome. Again, built in collaboration with 5-star, right, employers, to say, what are the things they need to know and get in there with their hands. So there's time spent in the classroom, but most of the time is in the labs. And then we also have the unique approach partnering with y'all to have ride-alongs in the field so that they can not just learn it, but practice it and then experience what they're learning in the field. So
yeah, I think
that's been really neat.
It's awesome. It's absolutely awesome. Before you were a part of the Trades Institute, and before the Trades Institute was known as the Trades Institute, we used to just call it the school. And we sat in meetings, and it was the vision was always like the typical trade school can offer them, like you said, the lab and the book. But man, there's something about when they hear about it and then they get to touch it, but then they have to go out in the world and you learn that next level skill of, when the proverbial heat is on and that customer is standing behind you while
right.
you're working on that piece of equipment, man, that adds a layer of complexity that you cannot plan for, when you're just doing it at the school, right? And so I agree with you. And also, I think it's such an amazing opportunity for your students and for the people coming to the school to really just get a full understanding of what their life is going to look like once they graduate
right.
and actually join the trade, and I think it's so important. So can you expand a little bit just on what sets you guys apart from just every other trade school?
Okay, great question. So not only just the curriculum piece, like how it's the approach is, but also there are 6-week terms, which is unusual. So we try and get a class in 6 weeks. You don't go a semester like a quarter of the year. It really is these shorter 6-week stackable classes that you learn something, you get a certificate, because we try and put in as many industry recognized certifications as possible so that you're walking out saying like, yeah, no, I'm certified in this, but yeah, and so the comprehensive HVAC class is made up of 6 of those 6-week terms, and the comprehensive plumbing class 6 of 6-week terms. So
okay.
You're really getting into what you really need to know in order to be successful in the career. And I think that's the other unique thing, is that we're not like an average school. We're surrounded at the Emerge Center by all these amazing supportive services like Emerge Recovery and Trade Initiative, where they're providing the clinical support if somebody should need that. Aspire's here, which provides GED services, and they're amazing. And then obviously the second chance employers, we all exist in this big ecosystem of people just trying to help each other just be better than before, right? So I think that's really awesome about being here on campus here, is you're surrounded by like-minded people that really want to see you do well. So it's not
so awesome.
It's not like just going to a school and leave it. You know what I mean? It's an experience and community, right? That's different.
I love it because, in our industry, it's talked about so much, right? The number one thing that we struggle with is finding people, right? So, finding the people who can do the work. And, we often talk about where do people go to find these people? And, I talk about it all the time. There's traditionally our competitors are going to 2 wells, right? They're going to, I'm going to steal your employee, that you trained and put money in. And I'm going to somehow convince them to come to me, and I'm better than you, and that's why they should come here. Or the other one, right? I'm going to go to the high school and convince some 17-year-old kid that this is a better path. And I know. I don't know if you've seen the Home Depot commercial, go pro in something other than football or in sports or whatever. I don't know if that's the marketing campaign that I want. I don't know if that's exactly the message. Oh, you didn't make it as a college athlete? Well, hey, how about an HVAC tech? It's like, I don't know if that's, but I feel like there is this other pool of people, right? There is this group of people in the world that are underserved, that never had a chance, right? From the beginning, not even their own fault, right? Or they took a wrong turn, like you said. And I know you guys are focused on that. Are you doing like marketing efforts or things to try to get, not just at Emerge, but, with other organizations to try to get out in front of that group of people?
Yeah, we were just talking about like our target audience. We're not targeting like your average student, right? We're targeting the broken, that are on their healing journey that say like, hey, I want something different for my life. That's our target audience. So we recently brought on Cassandra Kirkpatrick. She's the CEO or the COO here with me. She's my partner in crime, and she's really involved in the recovery community. And gosh, even in the last 24 hours, she's really gotten the word out to other, recovery houses, treatment centers, like, hey, ministries, we exist, and we exist because of this. So come here. And so that's been a part of our recruiting strategy. The other thing is the reentry population. Like I am a reentry girl through and through. Like I love, honestly, people that are incarcerated. It's just like you said about things that happen to them and around them, put them in that position. Obviously, it's a choice, right? Choices that we make, but I made a different choice in a moment of weakness, or I did not get caught.
That's it.
We're literally, right? I mean, it's the same. Like there are many times in my 20s that I was extremely self-destructive, and I could have landed myself exactly where they are. So you never rise above anybody. We are all humans. We all need someone to come alongside. So I'm a big reentry girl. So we've been, trying to talk to ODRC and the reentry groups that are helping people get back into society and say like, hey, come here for belonging, come here for community, come here for training, come here for opportunity, right? A hope, So awesome. That and Department of Youth Services has been out here just trying to target those, like you said, the underserved populations to say like, hey, you're welcome here, and we want you here.
Oh, I love that so much. I have a word that gets thrown around a lot. I think it's a word that people don't truly understand is, humility or being humble, and, my definition for being humble is simple. It's being no greater than or less than any other person, right? Just equal to. And anytime I feel like I'm not living through that lens, I go ride the city bus. Because nothing will make you feel greater than or less than a bunch of people. Because either you're sitting on the bus watching the Range Rover drive by and you're like, well, that person's better than me. Or you're sitting on the bus going, well, I'm better than all these people, right? And so when I can ride the city bus and be equal to, that's when I know I've got some humility in my life,
I love that.
Oh, thanks. So what are some of the kind of the issues or the challenges that the Trades Institute is either facing or hoping to address?
Okay. Those are two different questions. So I would say things that we're facing, we're a startup.
Right.
We're new. So anytime you're doing something new, it takes a while to get your name on the map or to be relevant or credible or any of that. So, and there's still some things that we've been working out just as far as, really developing our curriculum even more and saying like, hey, if we're going to be marketing to a different population, we have to teach in a different way, right? So just trying to plan for those things so that we do a great job, right, on our end. One of the other challenges, and I think, that we're trying to address as well is, plumbing's not a very sexy career. Surprisingly, people want HVAC more than they want plumbing. And I'm like, listen, yeah. I'm like, listen, this is a great career path and you can make great money and they need plumbers. Like I just had my basement flood for the third time. I'm just saying, like, it's been a week, right? And I'm like, I'm just saying, and I love my husband, right? He's a car guy and he installed the sump pump, but like, we need something more robust. And I'm like, where's the plumber? Like, right? So I'm like, there's a huge need and they bless so many people, HVAC and plumbing, like the amount of kingdom work you can do really out in the field. I think people don't realize it's not just a service technician. Like you're really providing a service that can really bless somebody's life, in
Yeah.
a tangible way. So
It's a dynamic, it's a super dynamic industry. And I think the other thing a lot of people don't realize is like, we've had a lot of people start with us either in the install department or in the service department who work in areas of our business now and they're not doing that type of work anymore. They have not elevated necessarily, but maybe the skill set, but have moved, into different areas of the organization or into leadership roles within their departments because they're a dynamic leader. And the thing is we need as a company like ours, and there's many out there, and I'm happy to bring this message, and I'm happy to share. Like we would love for a lot of your people to consider coming to work at 5-Star. But the reality is, as you guys grow, and I know you're going to take off, we're not going to be able to employ all your people.
Right.
So we want to find like-minded contractors who live by the same value set that we live by, who believe in doing the right things by the customer and serving God. And we want to provide them with the same opportunity to talk to your students, that we get, because I personally believe rising tide raises all boats, right?
100%.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And that's part of one of our missions here. We were just talking to another industry prior to this call about providing some services, not just for the person getting the job, because I think we're really missing something, right? It's not just getting people, but it's keeping them.
Yep.
And it's a whole new approach to management and supervision. You can't manage and supervise the same way that you used to. Just our workforce has changed. So talking about how to recruit those employers and then train them to be trauma responsive leaders, to create felt safety in the work environment, to come alongside people that are broken and help to heal, not hurt. So we were just talking about kind of providing those services as well. So I think there's a multifaceted approach that we're going to get into for sure here that could be really exciting, just to provide that training and support to the employer to say like, hey, if you're willing to do this, we're going to help you do it well.
Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, the Trades Institute, HVAC, plumbing, I would think maybe electrical sometime down the road. Do you have plans to expand beyond that?
Yeah, so we actually got auto approved. We just need to build the lab. I have a fantastic instructor, master tech, ASC certified guy. We have the curriculum, and I think it's amazing. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for people. We just have to build the lab. So it's just finding the money to pay to get the equipment in there and all that kind of stuff. So the more students we can get in for HVAC and plumbing opens up the door for other opportunities in other areas. So yes, absolutely.
That's so cool. Yeah. And I actually, before I was in the home services industry, I was in the auto industry. So I know that industry well. And that is a absolutely incredible career path for people as well. You can make a great living, but also, great work-life balance and, serving the community, right? And that's, getting people into that service mindset, it's so important. So I know you guys are new and you're just kind of getting launched out, but can you share maybe a success story from the Trades Institute?
So we're in the middle of that comprehensive class. We've got people further along, but and some at the beginning of the process. But I think a cool story is just somebody that's in from the recovery side of things that's being served by Emerge Recovery and Trade and introduced to a new career, and they have to take apart an HVAC system and they're able to put it back together. Or when I went down there last week and they were drawing a electrical schematic on how to wire this, and I'm just telling you, I know nothing about this stuff. So this has been I'm glad there are people that do know about it, but I'm like, I don't know. But they were so excited. They're like, Allison, look at my schematic or whatever. And they're drawing and then they're wiring it on the board. And, just stuff like that. It's increasing their self-esteem, their self-worth. This is something that I'm good at instead of being reminded of everything they're not good at, right? Which is their whole life. Right. Being criticized and put down and shame and look what you did, look what you did, look what you did. Look what you can do.
Right. That's what a great way to put it. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that. I will tell you this. I know it's working, and I know that what you just said is exactly true. They are gaining confidence. The way I know that is because one of your students, every time I walk through that building, goes, "Hey, Christian, save a spot for me." Save a spot for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's really fun to see. So for anybody who's listening right now that wants to be able to learn more about Trades Institute, get involved, maybe contribute some funds, I'm sure you guys would be happy to take anything that could come your way. How can they get involved?
So, I mean, one thing is to promote it for sure. We are a for-profit school, so if you donate, you don't get a tax deduction. But there was a very generous person that said, like, hey, I want to bless somebody at the school. And so we do have opportunity for meal plans. They're $200 a term, which provides a student with 25 meals at our Rise Cafe, another, entity out here at Emerge Cafe or Emerge Center. And so that blessed we blessed 6 students, that donor did, and they didn't get anything in return other than, hey, they wanted to support somebody who wants to do something different with their life. And the students were just like, this is awesome. So they get breakfast every morning during class, right? Like, how great is that? So that's
from
awesome.
the Arise Cafe, that's pretty great actually, because that place is pretty good.
I know, right? So that's awesome. The other thing is, funding is a thing as we try and help people be able to come to school here. So a lot of people are grant funded, especially this population of folks are able to access grants. But, that can't be our only way moving forward. So, giving to scholarships to help somebody go to school would be huge, honestly.
Where can our audience go to connect with the Trades Institute?
So www.thetradesinstitute.org.
.org. I
mean, honestly, that is our webpage. The catalog is on there. So it has all of our classes. There's an interest form that people can fill out if they're interested in anything. There's just reach out. Would love to hear from people, but that really is the best way, or just stop by. I mean, we actually are around the back of the Emerge Center, and there's door 28, and there's a big sign that says the Trades Institute. So please come on in and, be a part of what we're doing here for sure.
Well, I think what you're doing there is fantastic. It's been so good to see you step into the role and start to lead. And really, I think everything was kind of there, but it wasn't. I don't know. There's the momentum. It just couldn't. And then you came in, and boom, it was like a spark. And this thing has really taken off. So it's been great to see. Congratulations on on the role and all the work you're doing there. Any final thoughts from you?
I mean, I would just say to people, if you're not involved in helping someone else, get involved somehow, whether that be helping them to get to school or just by encouraging somebody. Yesterday, somebody stopped by the office that had reached out about the school, and they really didn't know why. They just were told to, and he came by and told a pretty hard story. He's in a pretty tough spot. And, we gave him some direction, next one right thing. That's what we always say. So what's your next one right thing? But then we also stopped and prayed over him. And, that prayed that he would be reminded of who God said he is, not who the world says he is. And any opportunity you get to just bless somebody, take it for that day and do it.
What a beautiful message, Allison. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you giving up some of your time. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. And, maybe we'll do another one of these here in about a year and check in with how the progress is going.
And hopefully I'll have a lot to share, Christian. That would be awesome.
I know you will. All right. Thank you, Allison.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you found this episode helpful, make sure to give us a follow and leave a review.